catch 'em all.
Alright guys, so I'm taking a look at a 1080p PTZ style camera, and this particular camera is actually very small in size, but it has some quite unique options, which I'm going to kind of go over real briefly some of those here in a moment. Now with this, you do have about 355 degrees of pan, 90 degrees of tilt. There is option for cloud storage or micro SD card storage. You also have the option of utilizing this with your phone, obviously, and using this in some unique ways. You even have a phone call-like feature, which I'm going to stop now. So kind of like you're a phone call, you can talk, and a little bit of an echo if I turn the volume up. I'm not going to do that. All right, so ended the call. All right, so I'm going to set that right there. So I wanted to show you that. There's my face. So, but yeah, I just wanted to show you, I'm actually running this right off of a power bank. So very convenient that it has a pretty long cable, but it is a micro USB cable. On the back you have your reset and your micro SD card on either side. You have a little button that's sort of like a play button. That's like a phone call button, so you can do the two-way communication, which is kind of cool. And then of course you have your camera on the front. This has night vision. You have your microphone here. On the bottom you have a rubber ring, so it's not going to slide around or damage the furniture. And you have a mounting screw right there, which will mount up to the included little mount they include here. You can flip this thing over and do it sideways, and also you can adjust it for whatever orientation you decide to mount it. You of course have your instruction manual. You have a little power brick, so if you need to plug it into the wall as opposed to just plugging it into USB. For the purpose of this demonstration, real quickly, I just plugged it into the USB. And then you have your mounting hardware, your screws, and your drywall anchors. So that's pretty much it real quick on the overview of everything here. And then of course you have your box. It's, you know, here. So the app on this thing is actually really kind of cool because I'll leave the camera sitting right there. Hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. So I'm not going to go over every single thing, but you've got the ability to mute it. You can take photos, video, microphone. You have all those different settings. You can choose to go full screen with this button over here on the side of the video. You have your PTZ controls, which are here, which we're going to look at in a second. And then you have this more option. And with this more option, it's kind of crazy because you have children's song, story, and pet. So if I do children's song and touch one of these, it's going to start playing. So I'm going to stop it. So it starts playing through the speaker. So if you had this in a child's room, you could actually play some kind of a music for your child, for your baby. That's kind of cool. And it kind of works the same way with the story mode, but I believe it's in Chinese. So I don't really know how effective that's going to be for people in the US, but it's kind of a cool feature. I don't think I've ever seen that on a camera before. So interesting. And then you have pet mode, and there's some different things dealing with that, similar to like for your children and everything. So just a really interesting option. And then here, if you have smart devices, you can connect those. I'm not going to do that because I use my Amazon Echo and Toya Smart app for all of that. So I just don't have a real need for that type thing. But it's kind of cool. You can integrate some of the smart home devices. It's like I have an air conditioner and different things. You know, AC controls, smart lock. It looks like humidifier, humidity, smart home equipment. It's just a really cool aspect to include that in it. If we go back to the PTZ controls, there is, the option here. You can kind of control the camera from that. You can hit the button here in the middle to kind of center things. You have a button for different purposes on the corners. If you hit this one, it says to save the PTZ position. So I guess you could lock in like your favorite position, which is kind of neat. Over here, if I touch that, it says start to, I think it's doing the tilt, so it's going up and down, and it just kind of goes back and forth, up, down, up, down, up, down, until you hit the center button, and that stops it. And over here, similarly, if you hit this, it goes into a pan mode, and it just kind of pans back and forth, which is kind of a neat feature. And then you can hit the button to stop it. Down here, I believe this is the exit option. Press again to exit, I believe. So that's kind of cool, you know, you just have that really quick. And of course you can control the camera here, and if you go sideways, you have full screen and you have your controls on screen. So there is, like I said, option for cloud storage, or you can store through the SD card. I'm not doing that because it seems like YouTube always screws with the video and everything. So I'm kind of just showing you the video here. It's 1080p, it looks really good. The audio seems to be pretty good. Night vision, if I were to just cover this camera, it will automatically flip over to the night vision, so you can see everything is kind of black and white for a moment. It'll pick up the light in the room, flip back, as you can see. So it's relatively quick on its ability to do that transition between. And if I click on up here at the top, there's a cloud storage button, but if I click right there, I actually have the options for the camera. So I have a notification switch, so I can actually be alerted different things. Camera name, you can rename it, some camera information. You can do the firmware updates for the camera. It takes about 5 minutes roughly, right through the app, so really simple. You do have alarm, network settings, basic settings. You can see the capacity in case you're running low or worried about that aspect. But if I go into basic settings, I've got the options to flip the camera around, the time zone, SD card settings. So if you go into that, you can do all day video or motion record. If you wanted to do motion, of course, it's going to trigger the camera on motion, and then at that time it's going to record. So that's going to be space saving. If you want to do all day video, then that's fine too. I honestly don't know if it loops because I have so many different cameras. I don't utilize all my cameras with the actual SD card. I use them for the alert detection, and then I can just view, mainly to keep track of the dog. There's, hopefully if no one breaks in, but if someone breaks in, of course, you'd have that option. If I back out of that, as far as the alarm settings are concerned, let's just turn the alarm on. It's probably going to go, I'm going to do high sensitivity. And I think if I start moving, you'll hear crying detection. So if you have a baby, you can do that. You can have an alarm time. So if you want to set that up on a schedule, it looks like you could do so. And then alarm sound and moving trace. So if I do moving trace, that's actually quite interesting. So if I move, the camera actually tracks my motion, and that's not a very common feature. Some have motion detection, but not all of them can actually track the motion and keep, following the person around, which is actually kind of cool for this camera. It's relatively inexpensive. This thing is, I don't know if I can get it to actually trigger and give you the alarm sound or not. But let's see, basic settings, make sure. Oh, and you do have night vision as I was talking about. Let me go back and turn that off. So it took a second, but you can see, and it will take a second to turn that off. So just kind of turning everything off now. Alright, so it took a few seconds for it to kick in, as I said, and then a few seconds for it to kick off again. Okay, I'm kind of done showing you that. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you real quickly overall. So kind of cool PTZ controls right there on the screen. You can, of course, do it on the screen by touching. So I just wanted to kind of show you that. As you can see here, you can choose your different video resolutions and everything. So just overall, for what this is, it has some really unique features. that are not commonly found. So it's pretty cool that it has those options. So this will probably be one that I keep instead of family or friends or someone taking it, because it does offer some options that you normally wouldn't get with other cameras. So I just want to give you a really quick overview, kind of a demonstration, just to show you what you can expect. And of course, as I said, the cool thing about this being that it does, sorry, let me move. Okay, so because of the fact that it's on using a micro USB, you do have a lot more flexibility in how you power this. You could run it off a power bank, and assuming you have a large enough power bank, you could actually run it for a considerably long amount of time, most likely. And then you have, like I said, your mounting options, your alarm, the baby, the pet, and all that. That's a very unique aspect with the music and all, although it is, like I said, the lullabies or whatever they are. Some of the stuff is in Chinese, it seems. I didn't see an option to change it. I'm not saying it isn't possible or won't become possible. Maybe with future updates, maybe that's something as they're breaking into the North American market, that'll become an option in the future as the app gets updated. But overall, it seems to work really well. Again, I'm not trying to include a clip from the SD card. I don't have a free SD card at the moment available, and it just doesn't seem to matter as much because the video, because of YouTube, changes the frame rates and everything. So it's going to change what it looks like when I render my video that I'm filming here compared to that video. And it's going to obscure the true results. So the best results are kind of seeing it hopefully through the video on the phone, which is what you're going to be interacting with yourself. But 1080p video looks really good on the phone anyway, so it's really good. Even 720p looks really good on the phone, and in some cases a little bit lower is not that bad either. But it works on a 2.4 gigahertz network. It does not work on the 5 gigahertz network, which is super common with pretty much all of just about all the devices you get these days. So anyway, the internal antennas appear to work really well, so there's no external antennas to worry about with this. And again, you just have what looks like a little play button right there. And like if you have kids that come home and you wanted to keep track of them, it's going to alert you that they're at home anyway. But if they needed to call you quickly and easily through the camera for whatever reason, if something else wasn't an option, they could push that button, and as you saw, it kind of initiates a phone call right in the app, and you can choose to answer or reject the call like you would a phone call. So just some really cool, unique features that make me more interested in this camera because of the way that it works. And I believe it's eLinkSmart is the name of the app that is used. So it's eSmart Cam. Let me double check. I believe that is the name of the app, though. eSmart Cam, that is the name of the app, too. So that's pretty much it. And it will show you a, yeah, it says crying alarm detected a cry. So that's not quite accurate. But human-aid alarm camera screen has detected something. I don't know, it runs off the screen. But you can see the detection is right there in your drop-down. So kind of cool. Obviously, we didn't hear anything because I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, but you do have some really cool options with this camera. I think it's really worth checking out. At least go check out the link below, kind of find out more about it, and do a little bit of your own research and decide what you think as far as the camera goes. Okay, so this little button here is the position save. So once you save a certain position, I guess if you want to focus on a certain zone, rather than having a zone you kind of define, you set a position, lock the camera on it, and then you can return to that position that's been saved using that button there. So that's kind of cool. Okay, and if you hit the back button enough times, it will exit out the program and you know, give you that alert. The only thing that I'll say maybe is kind of a down negative, you know, or a downer on this, is you do have to create an account with this camera through the app, and you do have to kind of bind, or you do have the option to bind that. So that's, you know, maybe not great for everyone, but again, you have a really long cable. I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but the micro SD card slot and the reset button are located on either side of the micro USB. There is your mounting. There's your, you know, phone call type button, your speakers on the sides, your lens, and of course your IR LEDs in there for the night vision. I think it does like 20, 25. Did I wrote it? I think I wrote it down on here. I don't know if I did or not. I think it works somewhere in the neighborhood of like 25 feet, something like that. But check out the link below to get more specifics. I kind of hope that I've given you enough of an overview to at least pique your interest. You can find out more about this for yourself. Really cool as far as the options are concerned, and I hope that they continue to develop and support this and maybe work on converting some of the songs and different things available into English for the North American market so they can better utilize it. Okay, so that's it, guys. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much, and hopefully you found this useful. Check out the link below. Thanks for watching.